We're going to be making a waterfall book using Season to Celebrate. I'll be using the Ephemera assortment, 8x8 collection, and the patterns and solids. You're going to need a piece of graphic 45 chipboard. You're also going to need some cardstock. I'm using cream. I'm going to be using this waterfall die, but if you don't have a waterfall die, you'll just cut each of your pieces of cardstock at 4 5/8 by 4 1/8, and you'll score on the 4 5/8 side at 3/4. And then if you want to make a tab, you could just punch a circle and glue on part of it, and it would create a little tab. So to start with, I'm going to take 2 sheets of cardstock. I'm going to put glue about a 1/2 inch on one side. And then I'm going to glue them so I have a longer sheet. I scored each of these 1 1/4 up at the bottom. It just helps me keep my chipboard straight. So then you're going to grab your chipboard. You're going to cut 2 6x6 pieces. Then you're going to cut one at 1 1/2 by 6. So then you're going to take your 1 1/2 by 6 piece, add adhesive to the back. I center it over where I glued my 2 pieces of paper together. Then you want to take one of your 6x6s, put adhesive on the back. I'm going to glue it next to the spine piece, leaving about 2/8 inch gap. Now take your other piece of chipboard and glue it on the other side of your spine, leaving a gap about 2/8 inch. Then I just trim off my shorter sides over here, so I have about an inch, 1.5 inches. Then you want to fold your cardstock around your chipboard. So then you want to clip your side pieces, leaving a little gap where your points are. Whoops. Then trim your corners. Glue all of your sides down. Usually glue my longer sides first. Push in your little triangle there. Then I usually score in where that gap is in between my chipboard. Then score on your inside cardstock where your alleys are. Then I already added some score tape on the outside because I'm going to have a ribbon closure. You can also skip this part if you don't want a ribbon closure. Then I have 2 pieces of probably 12-inch long ribbon. I add that right on my score tape. Add some more score tape right over. Now the other side. Add my ribbon. Adding more score tape. So I'm going to set that aside. So I'm going to grab a piece of pattern paper. I'm going to trim it to 8 1/4 by 12. Then I'm going to score on the 12-inch side at 5/8. turning my page around, still on the 12-inch side, and scoring at 5/8. Then turning to the 8 1/4 side, I'm going to score at 5/8 and 6 1/2. So now I'm going to cut this score line all the way to the center score line. I'm going to just slightly miter this one. Then I'm going to cut this part off, this little square down here, keeping these side ones straight. Then I'm going to cut this side off. Just this top part, all the way to the center score line. And I'm just slightly going to miter. Then I'm going to cut off this little section here. So I'm going to slightly miter down to where the score lines cross. And then I go straight on this one. Then I'm going to round these corners of this top part. So then I'm going to fold on my score lines. So this one goes over. I'm going to fold this one back like that. And fold that one. So those are like that. And I'm going to fold up my bottom, fold down my top, so the center of your pocket here, the closure part, 2 5/8 is the center. So down here on the pocket side, I'm just going to clip a little notch. So like that. Then grab one of your scraps. And this is a 1-inch hole punch. I'm going to cut 4 of them. You're going to need 2 brads, any kind will work, and some string. You're also going to need 2 littler circles. They're about 1/2 inch. Poke a hole in the center. take one of your circles. I'm just using a little vintage photo. Put your brad through one of your circles. Put your other circle on and your small circle. 2 5/8 is the center. So I want to go about 3/4 inch down. Add your little brad closure to your top of your pocket, like that. Then you want to decide where to put the bottom one. About right there. I'm going to go with the pink string. So you probably need about 12 inches. So grab one of your circles, put your brad through, and I usually put a little bit of score tape. I do tie this in just a loose knot. Then I stick the tail of it to that score tape. Then I add just a little bit more score tape. Then I add some glue. I stick my other circle on. Squeezing it together so it gets stuck together. Then I put my little circle on. Then put it through your hole. Close your brad. Then I usually find a scrap of paper. Add some glue. And I just put it over my little brad legs so that things I'm putting in the envelope don't get stuck on it. So now you have a closure. Now you can glue your bottom. So I have these 2 circles from the Ephemera assortment. Going to put glue on the back. Stick my ribbon on, or my string. Add my other circle to the back, making sure they're even. So now my closure has a little decorative end. So I'm going to turn it over. This is from the paper collection. You could glue that on. I have some stamps that I stamped. I'm going to grab them on so that it leaves a little journaling area. And then I have this piece from the Ephemera collection. I'm going to glue at the top. So now it looks like that. We're going to bring our book back. And then I cut a piece of pattern paper at 5 7/8 by 3.5. And that's going to cover my center chipboard. So you want to evenly center it. You want to score in between the 2 chipboard pieces. Then you're going to take your envelope. You're going to put glue on these little flaps. Then you're going to center those little glued flaps right between your 2 score lines. burnish down really good. So it's like that. So then from the paper collection, I cut this little green strip. I cut 2 of them. I'm going to trim these down to 5 5/8. I'm going to be careful not to go over the score line there. Now do the other side. Now we have our pocket in the middle done. We're going to set that aside. Then I cut 2 at 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. I cut winter floral and autumn floral. And you're going to need 9 waterfall pieces for each one. Again, if you don't have the waterfall die, you can cut a piece of cardstock at 4 5/8 by 4 1/8. On the 4 5/8 side, you're going to score at 3/4. Then you can cut a circle using a punch and glue it on so that you have a little tab. So you're going to grab 8 of your little tabbed pages with the score. And even though there is already a score line, I'm going to go ahead and score at 1/2 inch and 5/8. And then my score line's already at 3/4. And I'm going to need 8 of those. So 1/2 inch, 5/8, and your 3/4 should already be there. So you're going to take one of your 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 and one of your waterfall cards. And you're going to put glue up to that first 1/2 inch score line. Don't get any on the score line. And then that first 1/2 inch score line, you're going to tuck it under your paper to that line. So it's glued onto the back like that. Now you're going to take another one where you scored it. You want to put that that right under. I usually line mine up on top. So it's like that. So this will be our third one we're using where we put the extra score lines. Add glue. You're going to go over under this side over here. This will be my fourth one for this side. Tuck it right under. Line up your two. So the back of your paper should look like that. So now I usually go back and kind of fold all of my score lines that are on those cards. That just will lift it up a little bit so that so it's not so bulky with your other waterfall underneath. So you want to bend all carefully. So then, before I forget, because I have forgotten to put my magnets on before, I drew that line so I know I want to stay above it with my magnet. So I usually put an X, and then my other magnet's going to go on this side. Now we're just going to grab a normal cut one with no extra score lines. You're just going to fold it on the score line that the die made. You want to add adhesive. Then you center it at the top, on top of the pattern paper. Now you're going to take another one with no extra score lines. Add adhesive. Line it up. third one. Add adhesive, line it up. So now we're going to grab a fourth one with no extra score lines. We're not going to glue it down yet. We're just going to line it up, and it looks like we're going to need to take about 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. So it's like that. Add adhesive, line it up. So we're going to take one more. We're going to line that one up over here. Not quite to the edge. We're going to grab our book. We're going to put adhesive on the back of our page. Then we're going to center it right on the inside front cover. Burnish down real good. So now you want to grab some score tape. Stick one of your magnets down. So I have the sticky side up on this piece. So now that we have our magnets in, we want to cut our pattern paper or you can cut photos using the die. Then we're also going to need to cut from the pattern paper 5 of these that are 5/8 by 4 inches. Then I cut out this word family using a die cut, and this is from the Ephemera assortment. So add adhesive to your pattern paper. Add it on your top flap. Now I already added a photo here. So then we're going to work on this flap. I'm going to add another piece of pattern paper right over my magnets. Then I'm going to take this piece of ephemera. I'm only going to put glue down to here. Glue that down. Then I'm just going to glue the word family right above it. You can add a photo here. So then you just want to continue adding in your pattern paper or photos. Then you want to take these strips that were 5/8 by 4 inches and glue them down on where your little tab from your photo mat is. And then you can do journaling on those. So I'm going to glue in the rest of my photos and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my photos added. This is another book I've done, and I just used pattern paper. And then you could do smaller photos so more of the pattern paper shows. So now we're going to flip to the back. We're going to have that other piece of pattern paper we cut, the fall florals, and we're going to do the same thing. Take our flaps and glue them all on the same way as the front side. And so I'm not going to show you guys again since it's the exact same as this side, but I'll be back as soon as I get it glued all in and we'll do the cover. I've finished this side. It's the same as the other side. This way you can see it with photos. Whoops. Then in my pocket, I cut a piece of 5.5 by 10 and I scored it at 5. And I just made a little photo book. So then I cut a piece of pattern paper at 1 5/8 by 5 7/8. And I'm going to glue that right on the spine, centering it. Then I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to mark out 1/2 inch on each side and at 3 in the middle. Then I cut these 3 strips from the cut apart pages from the collection. I'm going to trim them down to 4 inches long. Like that. Then I'm going to take one, add some glue on the end, about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to line this up where I marked it on my book. Put a 1/2 inch of glue on my next strip. Put that on my middle mark. Same thing on my last strip. I turn my book over. Put about 1/2 inch of glue on the other side of these strips. I'm going to bend them around and leave a little lifted like that. On all 3. Then I'm going to take 2 pieces of pattern paper and cut them down to a little under 6 by 6. And these are going to go right on top. Then I'm going to turn my book over and glue the other piece on this side. Now I'm going to tie my ribbon so I can trim it down. Trim your ribbon. So I have this scrap. I'm just gonna trim it down. Then I have a piece of chipboard that's 2 7/8 by 4 2/8. I'm going to apply some glue. Stick it down. Marking my corners. Trimming off my corners. Fold your paper in. Then I do my long sides first. Then my top side. My other shorter flap. So then I cut this image from the spring cut apart. I'm just gonna center that right on top of my pattern paper covered chipboard. So that's gonna go on my cover. So this is from the Ephemera set. I'm gonna grab our chipboard piece we made. I'll put some glue over here. And I'm going to glue this right underneath. Then I'm going to center my frame right on my book. Then I cut these 2 stamps from the paper collection. I added some glue to the back. And I'm just going to add them to my spine. So it's like that. So next I have several flowers. This one's a Graphic 45 one. Some are Prima. And they have this old metal word, and it's from Petals and Possibilities. I don't know if they're still available, but I'm going to be using this one on my project. So I'm going to add it right over here. Then I'm going to add a flower right over here in the corner. I'm going to take these little flower decorations, stick it on the bottom of that. I add this leaf right here. Then I'm going to add this large flower. Tuck another leaf under there. Tuck this one right under here. I'm just going to add some more flowers. Next I have some Prima, Say It With Pearls. And I'm just going to add some of these. Then I'm going to use this piece of ephemera added some glue on the back. I'm going to place that right in the middle. On the back of my book. So it's like that. So here's my 2 books. Thank you for watching.